Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and in this episode, we'll be looking at a timeline of events surrounding the Mica Francis case. Today's video will cover the time period between October of 2023 and May of 2024. I will have a second and maybe third video that continues the timeline. Some of the information in the video will be a repeat of what I've already said in other videos, but I thought it would be good to have a timeline of all the events happening to maybe get a better idea of why some of the events happened. Monday, October 9th, 2023, Micah filed a petition for divorce from John Paul Miller on grounds of adultery. Quote, "Plaintiff is informed and believes that the defendant husband has and is currently engaging in acts of adultery with women whose names are well known to the defendant. Plaintiff has not condoned the adultery. On or about September 20th, 2023, the parties separated and since said date have continued to live separate and apart from one another without cohabitation." Thursday, October 26, 2023, John Paul filed an answer to that petition and denied the allegations. Quote, "Each allegation of the plaintiff's motion for temporary relief not hereinafter specifically admitted, qualified, or explained is denied and strict proof is demanded thereof." In layman's terms, that means, oh yeah, we'll prove it. Friday, December 15th, 2023, John Paul sold his house to the church. Was it to avoid it being part of the divorce? There was allegedly a postnuptial agreement that was signed on 2/12/23 that stated that the house would remain his property. But what if the postnuptial agreement wasn't valid? Here are some samples of Micah's signatures. We can be sure that her signature on the restraining order request in the lower left is legit. The signature on the prenup in the upper right corner doesn't look at all like the other signatures. In December of 2023, Micah took a mission trip to Kenya. Upon her return, she and John Paul reconciled. There have been comments made that while Micah was in Kenya, Charles Randall talked her into going back to John Paul. But was there another reason? When did she turn the church and JP into the IRS? Was she only going back to him so she could gather information? Tuesday, February 6, 2024, counselor, therapist, whatever she was or wasn't, Faith Green, from Waccamaw Mental Health, wrote an affidavit to have Micah involuntarily committed. It is alleged that it was at John Paul's demands. Why was this necessary? From what I've seen of videos from the church, text messages, and 911 calls from Micah, she didn't appear to be in need of a commitment, whether involuntary or not. I haven't heard one of her friends or anyone in her family talk about how she needed to be committed. In fact, the only person I've heard push that narrative is John Paul. And if I had $1 for every time John Paul has said that she needed her lithium, or that she was having a bipolar episode, or was in a manic state, or would commit suicide if she got a gun, I could retire to my own private island. And speaking of, John Paul constantly pushed the narrative that Micah would only end her life if she got a firearm. However, he also said this in a text to one of Micah's sisters. But when someone is in a manic state, they'll use knives, medicine, etc. So why push the narrative of needing to keep her from buying a gun? That same day, a pickup order was issued by the Horry County Police Department, which meant that if they found Micah, they could take her into custody for her to be evaluated by a mental health professional. Tuesday, February 6, 2024, John Paul messaged Micah's family and told them that she was having a bipolar and schizophrenic breakdown, which isn't even a thing. And according to her medical records, Micah was never diagnosed with schizophrenia. Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, at 3:52 in the morning, Micah had left Horry County due to the pickup order, and she called police from Florence to ask if they could go by her house and check to see who was there.
Hello?
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Hey, is this...
This is she.
Hey, how are you? It's Officer Amon with Horry County Police Department. What can I do for you today?
Officer what?
Amon? A-M-O-N?
A-M-O-N. Okay, Amon.
Yep.
Yeah, I was hoping to do a wellness check on my home. I'm out of town. there's some guests there that I didn't invite there. My husband did, but I didn't. So I just want to do a wellness check, get the license plate of the people that are staying in my home in case something goes down that I was not present for. And also there's 2 laptops that contain sensitive information. Actually, they're naked pictures of me on the laptops, and we're kind of going through a lot with family court. There's a baby involved. There's marriage on the line here. There's a lot going on in that house. And I just don't feel comfortable with someone else having pictures of me, to be honest, on their laptop. There's 2 laptops. One that belongs to me and one that belongs to the owner of that home. And I don't know what to do about that.
I mean, I can't take any items out of the house without orders from like a judge, because that's personal property. Unless I'm taking it for evidence, I can't just take the items from the house. That'd be illegal for me to do that. I mean, unless you want to meet me there and get them. Well, your husband was there. Your husband's there now, correct?
I don't know if that's my husband, actually.
Well,
I'm
you just
looking
told
for
me
a
that your
paper
husband
trail.
was there. Okay.
Yeah, right now I'm looking for a paper trail that even proves that he turned in our marriage license. I don't even know if he's my husband by law, because we didn't do it right. My dad didn't give me away. We got married in the middle of the dark. Like, your dad's supposed to give you away. Your mom's supposed to be there. His parents are supposed to be there. So it wasn't done right in one way. And then legally, I don't know if it was done right another way. I've been requesting a paper trail. I've been requesting a marriage certificate so that it can prove you are.
Where'd you get married at?
Say that again?
Where'd you get married at?
Supposedly, we got married outside in Market Commons somewhere.
All that's public record. You can literally go on the Horry County website and you can look up marriage licenses if you have access to the internet.
How would I do that?
You go to the Horry County website. They have a whole index of public information.
HorryCounty.org?
Yeah, that's our website. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not sure which office it would fall under for those type of records, but if you can't find it, you can call them too first thing in the morning, and they'll be able to give it to you. I think they can even email it to you, actually.
Oh, perfect. I'd still like a wellness check to be done to make sure there's not any unwanted guests on my house, my property. My husband...
Right, but your husband's there. If he invited a guest, I can't make them leave.
I don't know if they were invited by my husband. I'm not asking you to make them leave. I'm just asking you to take a record of the license plates of who's at my house while my supposed husband is asleep. He texted me. He took his medicine, which his medicine literally knocks him out. He cannot awake until that medicine is digested. So he's knocked out. I'm not home. There's people I definitely didn't invite into my house. I just want to do a wellness check. Is that okay, officer?
Yeah, I just have to make sure it's not being done with the purposes of harassment. Is there any reason why you can't check on the residence yourself, or?
Yeah, I'm out of town. I'm on my way to my sister's house.
Okay. 247. Yeah, I can run by there.
I've stopped and got gas and food and sleep and water. I stopped at Buc-ee's, and my intentions are to go to my sister's house, so I am not home. My husband is knocked out on drugs, sleeping, like medical drugs, from a doctor. And
how do you know that there's people at your house?
Because there's been guests before when I leave that were not invited by me to be there and without my husband's knowledge. My supposed husband's knowledge. So I just want to do a wellness check. I just want you to drive by slowly and take license plates and then run them and make sure nothing weird's going on.
Well, I can't give any of that information to you, though.
Oh, no, you don't have to give it to me. honestly,
well, I'm just curious right, but if I run the tags, what's that going to tell me as far as, like, I'm just trying to figure out what information, I mean, I'm on my way to drive by there right now, but I mean, running the tags, if there's any vehicles there, I mean, I can't give you that information anyway.
Right.
But I can ride by there.
Wanted from the law is there, if that's what you're worried about, accidentally catching someone who's wanted. I mean, wouldn't you be happy about that? I mean, that's not my intention, but it sounds like that's...
Well, no, I wouldn't know if they're wanted just based off of their license plate, though. I would need their driver's license. But I'll drive by there anyway. I was just trying to make sense of what you were trying to accomplish, that's all.
Yeah, I just want to drive by and make sure that... I mean, to my knowledge, there should only be a blue truck there. My husband's car. My husband's truck.
Okay.
So anyone outside of that is a guest that I just don't even know about and was not invited by me.
Right, but if he invited them, I mean, I can't make anybody leave.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you to make them leave. I'm just asking you to make sure that there's nobody there that I didn't invite. He's asleep. He doesn't even know who's coming and going in and out of his house while he's asleep. I don't even know how many people have been given access to the Bluetooth lock on our house.
All right, well, I'll ride by there. I'm on my way over there now. I'll go do a welfare check on it.
Okay, there should only be a blue truck there.
All righty. Sounds good. I'll be there shortly, okay?
Yeah, and I know that he has invited his sister to live there with us under my contest, of course. I don't want her to be there. So she has a black SUV. So that would most likely be there unless she's spending the night at her house where she's supposed to be with her husband, 2 streets over. She could be there making up with her husband right now, or she could be at my house, not requested by me, but requested by my husband. So that's not suspicious. But anything else outside of that, a little suspicious.
Okay. All right, I'm on my way there now. I'll go check it out.
Okay, and if you do find something suspicious, what is your responsibility?
As far as what?
Like, what do you do with the suspicious activity if you did find any? What is your responsibility?
Well, how would I find suspicious activity? Just because the people that are there were not invited from you, I can't legally do anything about that. As long as everyone's fine inside the residence, that's pretty much it. That's what a welfare check is.
Oh, okay. So how do you know if everybody's safe?
If everyone's what?
How do you know that everybody's safe and that somebody's not in there with a gun?
Well, first I got to knock on the door and see if anyone even answers. If they don't answer, there's nothing I can do at all.
Okay, you'd have to knock on the door to figure that out?
Well, I can't kick your door in without a search warrant.
You might have a search warrant, actually.
I promise you I don't.
Oh, right. Only for me, right?
I've never met you. I don't have a search warrant for you, ma'am. I'm just trying to figure out what you need and done, that's all.
Okay, cool. Because somebody told me that inside of Horry County, my husband, my supposed husband, got someone to file some special warrant if I'm insane.
I have no idea about that. I know nothing about that.
Well, that's why I'm at Buc-ee's, to be very completely honest with you. I cannot.
I mean, that's your prerogative. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a warrant, it'll be there until you get arrested. So it doesn't.
No. It's a special warrant that only has 72 hours, and then I can go to the county clerk's office and do what I need to do to make all of this.
I've never heard of that warrant, but maybe there's a warrant I've not heard of before. But I've never heard of that.
It's called a contested warrant. It's only got 72 hours, and it's supposed to only be initiated by your legal spouse, but my spouse, for some reason or another, didn't do it, and under protest, my therapist did it, had to take her lunch break to go do this because my supposed husband wouldn't leave unless...
Oh, you're talking about a pickup order. You're not talking about a warrant. You're talking about a pickup order. That's completely different.
Yeah, a pickup order. Somebody told me the word
Yeah,
warrant.
it's not a warrant. It's a
out
pickup order. Yep.
Okay, perfect. A pickup order. That's why I'm at Buc-ee's.
Yep.
That's why I'm waiting till morning sunrise to make my way to my sister's house. It's kind of a halfway point. Stop, get gas, food, sleep, water. Safe place, very well lit. I don't know. I just want to make sure there's no unwanted guests at my house. Officers.
Well, like I said, I'll go by there, but they're not required to tell me anything, but I'll try. Do you need anything else from me, ma'am?
I don't want to make a big fuss because if the sister answers and there's a baby court case going on right now and who gets custody and whatnot, so I don't want to scare her and make her do something that she would regret. Do you think that would be kind of triggering for her?
I don't know either one of you, so I can't really give you any advice on that. I'm not familiar with y'all's situation.
Because now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I don't want her to assume that her ex-husband, who's called the cops on her a couple times and then had to get the cops involved for several things with them, I don't want her to assume that unless it's anonymous. Are you allowed to say
you gave your name to the dispatcher, so it's already in the call.
Oh, okay. So
say she ends up getting pissed off and she's like, hey, I want to know who called. All she has to do is call dispatch and look and pretty much FOIA the call, and they have to provide that information to her.
So if I had remained anonymous, then the law would have been on my side. But because I was truthful and honest,
we don't do welfare checks for anonymous phone calls. That's harassment.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I was honest from the get-go, and it ended up working out for me because you gave me the time I needed to process this situation to the fullest.
Okay. All right, well, I'll go check on that for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, okay?
So you're not going to go by the house then?
I'm already on my way there now. I said I'm going to go check on the house, and I said have a good rest of the morning.
Why don't you not go check on the house? Because I don't want to disrupt the baby's custody case that's going on right now.
Okay, so you don't want me to go check on the house?
That is correct. I rescind my request.
All righty, I'll do that, and have a good morning anyway, okay?
About everybody that's involved in the party. Because I know that she will most likely be there. Again, not invited by me, living in my house.
I got you.
Definitely not invited by me.
All right, well, try to enjoy the rest of your morning anyway.
I will try, officer.
All right, have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Later that same day, Micah voluntarily admitted herself to South Strand Hospital to avoid being picked up by the police. Thursday, February 8th, 2024, John Paul texted DJ to ask him what he and Micah had talked about on February 6th, claiming that he and her doctor are trying to get a time frame of her manic episode. I don't believe that was the reason he asked DJ about the call. On Friday, February 9th, 2024, Micah called police from the hospital to report that John Paul had taken her phone and purse and was texting people pretending to be her. Police said it was a civil matter.
Lloyd County Dispatch, Diana.
Hi, Diana. I'm needing somebody to go to my house, the house that I currently reside in. Me and my husband are separated, and since I was admitted to the hospital, I have been told that he's taken possession of my phone, laptop, and car, which are all in my name. How do I get a deputy out there to get those items surrendered over to be temporarily held until I get out of the hospital?
You want an officer to go to your home and temporarily hold your items?
My personal property, yeah, it's got very, very, very sensitive information of me on those items that I don't trust are not being used for against me, I guess you would say.
198 County 10-4. So your husband?
We're legally separated. We both have lawyers and we're pursuing divorce.
Copy.
And he took possession of my items while being hospitalized.
I will put this in here for an officer. I'm not sure what they'll do.
And it's my phone, my laptop,
69.
and my car. And my phone and laptop have naked pictures of me on them.
Okay, what is your address?
Copy. I also have a police radio, so bear with me. I'm trying to do more than one thing at a time. All right, what's your home address?
Coldwater Circle, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 29588.
Coldwater Circle. All right, and what is your name? Your phone number?
843-6. Well, do you want me to just give you the hospital's number? Because if you call my number, he's going to answer.
Yeah, just the number we can contact you with.
Lee, can I get a number to this place so if they call me back?
And do they need to ask for a certain room number? Which hospital are you at?
South Strand.
Okay. So
And while I was admitted here, my husband, who were legally separated, swooped in and claimed my personal items as my husband, not as my legally separated husband, and my car and my laptop.
So were they brought to the hospital and he took those items?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now he's going through my phone and texting people impersonating me.
Okay. Do you want the officers to come to you to make a report about this?
No, I'd rather them just show up at the house because he works from home. He's a pastor doing this.
$510.
And I'd like it to be as soon as possible because from what I hear from just people calling me at the hospital that it's been multiple people that he's sending out messages from my phone saying it's me, but it can't be because he has my phone.
Okay.
And the phone is in my name. It's not a dual phone, and it's the bill is in my name and everything.
328.
And the car is in my name. The car insurance is in my name. Everything. The laptop.
Copy.
And he's taken advantage of me being in the hospital, and he's taken possession of them, even though we're legally separated and both have lawyers and everything.
And you want the officers to hold on to your belongings or take them to the hospital?
They can actually be put in a holding locker or something at the police department that only I can get them out, if that's okay. I just need them to be confiscated and put in a holding thing. And I get out, I believe on Monday is when they're released. I have my release date with the charts and stuff on Monday is when they'll think I'll be fully recovered.
Is he at home right now, do you know?
He probably will be, yeah.
What's his name?
John Paul Miller. And if you cannot get Officer Wilson to do this because they are friends, he's a parishioner at our church, so I think it would be a conflict of interest.
Wilson?
Yeah. It would be a big conflict of interest because he is a church elder. Brian.
No, he won't.
Okay, good. It would just be a really big conflict of interest, and I'd hate to put him in the middle of it anyway.
Description? Is he black, white, Hispanic?
He's white, male.
How old is he?
44.
And do you
His
live
sister,
at that
Lacey,
well?
lives with them.
Do you live with him?
Not currently, no.
All right, we'll get an officer dispatched as soon as possible. Just call us back if anything changes or if you have any further information.
Okay, thank you so much.
On that same day, medical records that John Paul attached to his affidavit show that someone had a psychotic episode and was prescribed Seroquel and nicotine patches. There is no name on the medical records, and it looks like it was erased. John Paul presented these records as being Micah's, but they can't be. She went to the hospital on 2/7, and her medical records from that time don't show any nicotine patches being prescribed and indicate there was no history of tobacco dependency. Were those John Paul's medical records? On Monday, February 12th, Micah was released from the hospital. According to the medical records that John Paul included in his affidavit, Micah wasn't on lithium at the time. The reports show that she was supposed to stop Zyprexa, and the doctor increased her Seroquel. So why the fixation on lithium? That same day, Judge Melissa Buchanan signed papers dismissing the petition for divorce that Micah had filed in October of 2023, and this dismissal was filed on February 13th. Were the papers actually signed that day? I have a hard time believing that Micah signed those papers the day she was released from the hospital. So if she signed the document earlier, why wasn't it signed by the judge until the day Micah got out of the hospital? Come on, John Paul, you can tell us. What gives? Sometime after Micah was released, John Paul sent her sister Destiny a text that Micah had been receiving emails just before she went into the hospital about smoking, and that she was prescribed nicotine patches. Sure, sunshine, we all believe that because it is just the most superest duperest believable thing anyone has ever said. On Thursday, February 15th of 2024, Micah called police for a welfare check on John Paul. She stated she thought he might be in a manic state. The police report read, quote, "Caller thinks her husband is in a manic state. He put his hands on her, put his hands around her throat about a week ago. Caller advised he was impersonating her identity, and he seems like he's a danger to himself. Caller advised there is weapons in the house. Problem: domestic situation thinks her husband is in a manic state and advises he has beat her and abused her. Not in progress. Has been going on for a while. Just seen where there have been previous calls today from caller. Civil issue. Caller is 1096. Advised of eviction. Nothing further." 1096 is 10 code to indicate someone has a mental illness. So Micah called about John Paul's mental illness, and instead, she's the one who's labeled as 1096. This wasn't the only time that a police report from Horry County Police Department indicated that Micah was 1096. How many times had Micah called that same day, and where are those calls and what was said? Are there police reports for that, but somehow they didn't get released? John Paul has made it sound like Micah chose to just not return home after her hospitalization, but the advised of eviction on the police report makes it sound like John Paul kicked her out. Here is the 911 call that Micah made that day.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Hi, I have somebody who I believe to be in a manic state and is a direct danger to the people in his household and himself and others. I need an immediate pickup, not the 72-hour pickup that a spouse can initiate. I need this to be a little quicker because he is a flight risk. There's been domestic violence. He put his hands on me. And I need an immediate pickup, not a 72-hour where he can flee the county.
Okay, what's the address?
Where I think he should be. Water, which is one word, Cold Water Circle, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 29588.
And who is he to you?
Can you say that one more time?
Who is he to you, honey?
He's my husband.
Okay, and he put his hands on you?
Yeah, he tried to throat punch me, but thankfully I was standing up, so he made contact, but it didn't knock the wind out of me like it should have.
He
pushed me down in front of thousands of people at Disney World, and so, yeah, and his best friend even saw that happen. He slapped drinks right out of my hand.
Okay, honey, when did he put his hands around your throat?
That was before I was in the hospital after that from just a panic attack of what was happening. That was about a week ago, but I just got out of the hospital a couple days ago, and when I got out, he was impersonating my identity with the phone that he had in his hands. I didn't even have my phone or anything, and he's texting everybody. He hacked my social media, and he's got guns in the home and a baby staying there right now. Or at 6 o'clock tonight, his sister who lives with him is going to pick up her baby because she got her baby taken away from her because she's a danger, apparently at risk of being a danger to her baby because she's postpartum. So by 6 o'clock tonight, when they pick him up in Conway, that baby's going to be at that house where he's used guns as intimidation in the past, where he's put his hands on me, and he's on an antipsychotic medicine that he's misusing. And I even got off the phone with the pharmacy. He didn't pick up his latest prescription, which he should have on January 3rd. And I believe at this point, based on the people that he's come in contact with, some of them reported to me that based on how he was talking, they feared he had killed and buried me somewhere. And I feel like I need an immediate pickup because he is a flight risk because his son, the same thing just happened to his oldest son, and he fled to Georgetown.
What's your first and last name?
This is her dad, and she's having to use my phone because he took her phone. He has possession of her car, her purse, all her valuables.
Guns that were bought in my name that I fear he's going to use and then say it was in my name. He's got my CWP license, he's got my public notary license, and my seal and my stamp, which he's been trying to force me to sign a post-nup for the last year and a half, and I fear that he's going to use my seal to impersonate my signature like he's been impersonating my identity for the past 3 days. He signed that post-nup saying that I get nothing if we divorce. And that's not even my biggest concern. It's the identity theft. I don't care about not getting anything from the divorce. I really don't care. But that was given to me by the Secretary of State, trusting me to keep it safe. And then when I got in the hospital, they gave all my belongings to my husband, and we're here now.
Are you at that house? Are you at Coldwater?
No, we've parked in a open parking lot in Market Common by the soccer field.
Okay, they are going to want to meet with you. Can you get anywhere close to Coldwater?
Absolutely. I can be in Azalea Lakes, the apartment complex right across from it.
Okay. Can you head that way?
And another reason I feel like it's so urgent is because he's very hyperactive right now. He's causing a lot of damage very quickly. And his son is a felon who's been living in my house after I left. His sister, it got her baby taken away from her because she's postpartum. His father is a registered sex offender because of what he's done. So the whole family, I'm very scared for what they'll do to my family, the church, he's a pastor, and especially me and my life.
What's his name, honey?
His name...
What's his date of birth? And how old is he?
He is 44 and a half. He's 6'2", male, brown hair, brown eyes. His son is identical to him, but he's like 5'2". So please don't arrest the wrong person. But he's 6'2".
Is there any children at that house, honey?
They should be at school right now, and he works remotely because he's a pastor. So he's either at my house or he fled to his son's house in Conway. But either way, we need to find him because his son has guns. His son is a felon.
All right, honey. What kind of car will you be in at Azalea Lake?
Blue Ford Expedition.
And I can be in the first turn. So when you first come into Cascades and Azalea Lake's entrance, the very first turn, there's like a dirt patch before you get to the neighborhood where it's like a cul-de-sac dirt patch. And it's before you even enter the Cascades neighborhood. It's very obvious on the right. That way we don't even have to technically enter the neighborhood. We can be right on the outskirts.
Okay, honey. And it's 246 Coldwater Circle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
If I hit that,
You need to take a right.
right, it'll be up on the left.
Yeah, it'll be up on the left, and you'll see the dirt patch where I talked about. Where when you first get in the neighborhood, immediately on the right, there is a dirt patch. And his son, who's a felon, was following me around town in his coastal painting, his business he owns. His truck is decked out. He even rolled the window down because I rolled the window down, and he was following me.
Okay.
And his son, like I said, has had 3 domestic violence arrests in the last 3 months. His ex-wife currently has had his children taken away. and they're getting a divorce. The sister is going through a divorce. She lives in the home. She's postpartum and very dangerous to her baby. That's why she can't have her baby.
All right, honey, I have that call in, and officer be dispatched as soon as possible, okay?
Okay, thanks. We'll be waiting. We're here.
And it's the Azalea Lake. Okay, alrighty. They'll be there as soon as possible. Anything changes, just call us back, okay?
Hold the phone. Let's listen to part of that again.
He's got my CWP license. He's got my public notary license and my seal and my stamp, which he's been trying to force me to sign a post-nup for the last year and a half, and I fear that he's going to use my seal to impersonate my signature like he's been impersonating my identity for the past 3 days.
Micah said that John Paul was trying to force her to sign a postnuptial agreement. Let's look at our chart of Micah's signatures again. The postnuptial agreement was supposed to have been signed on 2/12/2023, but on 2/15/2024, Micah said that John Paul had been trying to force her to sign it for the past year and a half. Does that mean her signature on the form was a forgery? Or was she under the influence of some type of substance when she signed it and didn't remember signing it? Either scenario would explain why the signature is so different than her others. I know that forging a signature is illegal, but is it illegal to have someone sign something if they're not fully cognizant? Or is it just unethical? I would think at the least it would make the signature invalid. Thursday, February 15th, 2024. According to Tricia Ross, Micah showed up to the church in a manic state. She allegedly sent the following text message to JP about a text that she had allegedly sent Micah's brother Nate. Quote, "Here is what I sent Nate just now, so you know I'm not doing anything you don't know. Hey, it's Tricia. I'm not sure what all is going on other than what I have witnessed. Micah's behavior has changed drastically and it concerned me. I love her and have nothing but genuine concern for her. I know she likes her doctors as she told me so. Her doctor has filed papers with the police. I really don't want her going through that and just go to the hospital so they can check her. I really think anything above and beyond that is just not good for her. I don't have a psychological degree to determine if she needs her medicine, but I think we have to trust the medical doctors. I've seen her in a deep manic episode, and she seems to be in a manic phase now. I am praying hard for her. I'm sure she doesn't trust anyone right now. Just know I really do care, and I want her to get help so she doesn't hurt herself or anything. I've reached out to her, but she's talking about me having..." And then it cuts off. Having what, Tricia? Having a heart as cold as an Arctic seal's backside? Having a crush on John Paul? Having the personality of stale white bread? Why was the text cut off? And you're right, Tricia. You don't have a psychological or even a psychology degree of any kind, so stop trying to diagnose Micah. I also have a difficult time believing that Tricia actually cared about Micah, especially in light of this text that Tricia sent to an anonymous person when John Paul's PI found Micah and DJ on the beach. And we'll talk about that episode here in a bit. Quote, "Just relax, it was emergent of him because he didn't know what to do when the PI told him. I calmed him so he doesn't do something stupid. He needs to kick her to the curb." End quote. Tricia, I need to tell you something, and I'm sure it won't make a difference or even matter to you, but I really, really don't like you. Sunday, February 18th, 2024, John Paul messaged church members about reaching out to Micah before he has her committed again. He told them Micah didn't know where her phone was. Yes, she did, and there's a police report that proves she did. Around this same time, John Paul was also texting other church members about Micah. He claimed that Micah stole money from the mission fund and it was a federal crime. He also wrote that the elders were wanting to file charges. How in the world would that be a federal crime? Wednesday, February 21st, 2024, John Paul filed an affidavit in an attempt to have Micah committed again. That same day, Micah had called Myrtle Beach Police Department to report her car as stolen. She told the officer that John Paul had taken it when she was in the hospital and wouldn't let her have it. The officer spoke with John Paul, and his report read, quote, "I contacted the husband, I.O., who stated that he and his wife were not legally separated and that she suffers from mental health disorders. The I.O. stated that the CP experiences episodes on an annual basis near Christmas when she becomes reckless and spends large amounts of money when she stops taking her prescribed medication. The IO stated that he was in possession of the silver Honda Accord in order to prevent his wife from selling it during this episode. The IO pointed out the fact that the vehicle was marital property and that he was unwilling to give it back to his wife for a month, which he stated was usually the time frame of these reckless episodes. Why was the officer referring to John Paul as the IO, which stands for Investigating Officer? And someone should have told John Paul and the officer to get out a calendar because February 21st is almost 2 months after Christmas. And does this mean that John Paul took her car from her every year around Christmas so she wouldn't sell it and then go spend that money willy-nilly? I can't believe that anyone would swallow this particular story. In fact, it's probably one of the dumbest stories I've ever heard, and it just irritates the stuffing out of me. Friday, February 23, 2024, John Paul filed for separate maintenance and support. South Carolina has archaic divorce laws, so this is their version of a legal separation, kind of. Sunday, February 25, 2024, John Paul called police and either put on his best impersonation of the world's biggest weenie, or he wasn't actually acting. He claimed Michael and Micah were at his house, banging on the doors and windows, screaming, "Let me in, let me in."
Open the door and let me in.
Enough with the hair. I want a chinny chin chin.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
It's Coldwater Circle. It's Coldwater Circle.
Okay. Slow down.
My ex-wife who just got out of my wife who got out of the mental institute, her and her dad are trying to break into the house, and I need police here immediately.
Okay. Are the doors?
Yes, their doors are locked. They're trying to break in.
All right. Calm down. Take a breath. What's your name?
Okay. The cops have been here several times over the past 2 weeks because of her.
It's a good callback number in case we get disconnected. All right. Is anybody else in the house with you?
Yes, my sister's here.
Okay. Can you get yourselves upstairs to a bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Can you lock the bedroom door?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get someone started out your way. All right. Do you know? Are they armed?
I don't know. She's been looking for a gun. Last time she came here, she tried to get a gun.
Okay.
And the police had to throw her out the house because she told them she wanted clothing. Instead of clothing, she went to grab a gun. Or she tried to grab a gun. She didn't grab one because the safe is locked and she doesn't even know the combination, but yes, she tried to.
Okay, so this is your ex-wife and her father?
Yes.
Okay. Are they threatening you? What have they said?
They just keep beating the door and beating the windows. And they're saying, let me in, let me in.
Are you upstairs now?
No. I'm at the stairway, though.
I want you guys to lock yourselves in a bedroom. I'm sending the police out.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, stay on the phone with me. I'm going to stay on the phone with you, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to stay on the phone with you. Are you able to get yourself to safety?
Yes. I'm in the back bedroom.
Okay. All right.
I'm afraid they're going to try to steal some of my stuff, too. She's been trying to take stuff, and we're already going to court.
Okay. Don't worry about that right now, okay?
Okay.
It's just you and your sister, no children?
Yes. No, 2 little dogs, that's it.
Okay. All right. Do you think you can leave safely?
No way. There's no way I could get out. They won't let me out.
Okay. I'm going to stay on the phone with you, okay? You tell me if you hear anything, see anything.
Okay, thank you. Now look at the doorbell camera. I'm on the phone to you to see what's going out there. Oh, they blocked it.
They blocked the camera?
Yeah. Now they're beating on the wall again. They're beating on the door and the wall.
I'm just typing in what you're telling me. I hear the dogs barking.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm shaking. I can't stop shaking.
Okay. Stay on the phone with me, okay?
He's a very dangerous man. He was in the Army, and he's threatened me before.
All right. What's his name? Is that his last name? Is he white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
Is that it? Oh, the door locked? No, I don't want him talking there.
All right, and what's your ex-wife's name?
She just got out of the mental institute a few weeks ago, and we have a court date coming up. because we're separating. And we had to call the cops on her at the church and the school last week as well because she tried to cause damage there. She's not really herself right now. She's supposed to be taking lithium, and she hasn't been taking it.
Okay. Is she also white?
Yes.
Okay.
She looks a little bit Asian.
Okay. Are the
They're not
dogs
at the door
with you?
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
the
know where
dogs
they
are
went?
in their cage. No.
Well, I don't want you to put yourself in danger. You stay in the room.
Not, yeah.
They're already, the police are already on their way to you.
They're in their car. They're back in their car.
Okay. What kind of a car are they in? Are they in two separate cars?
They're in a HRV, a CRV. They're in a brown CRV, and we had to call the police, the city police. We had to call because her family broke into my school that I own, and they wouldn't leave. So we had to call the city police just Friday to get them out of there.
Okay.
I needed no trespassing for her dad, and the cops already told him one time to leave and not come back. This will be the second time he's come on the property after they've told him not to come on the property of my house.
Okay. Stay in the bedroom.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll let you know when it's good to come out when the officers are on scene, okay?
Yeah.
Are they still in the driveway? Are they still in the property?
Yeah, they're still on the property.
Okay.
And let me just say, I love my wife, and I want her to be okay, and I'm trying to do what I can to get her to take her medicine and have her come home and, all that kind of stuff. But I had to file papers just for the safety of my children and to keep her.
I get it. Believe me, I understand. I get it. You have to.
I want the police officer to know that I'm not mad at her, but her dad's not allowed on the property ever. And right now, my lawyer told me that I had to file just to protect all the assets because she drained the bank account. She bought 2 cars in the past week. She's doing frantic things because she hasn't taken her medicine. It's not normally like this for her. She only does it about once a year. But right now, her dad's just been very evil. And it's just shaking so bad.
Okay. Take a deep breath in, all right? Take a deep breath in. I'm going to stay on the phone.
Okay. I don't want them to be upset with her, but it's her dad that kind of causes all this. She's mentally ill and doesn't know what she's doing at the time. She thinks she's moving to Africa and she wants to sell everything, and she's just not well. She just got over the mental institute here at South Strand about 2 weeks ago, and we already have a probate. Probate's already sent a letter for her to meet on March 5th to be evaluated by a doctor, and then she'll be served tomorrow with the divorce or the separation papers to tell her to stay off the property and stuff. So everything's in the works. And she's come here before with police officers twice, tried to get things, and she tricked them and said she was getting clothing when she has no clothing here, and she actually tried to get a gun, and then the cops told her that she had to leave, that she couldn't even be here because of the way she was acting. So I want to make sure she doesn't take any of my stuff or hurt any of my things. Or her dad should not be allowed anywhere near this property. The fact that he's banging on my walls in my house after the police already asked him to leave and not come back.
Let me see where they are. Hold on, let's see. Who's coming out to you? They're not that far away. All right, they're still in the car?
Yes, they're still in the car.
Okay.
They'll know by talking to her for more than 2 minutes that she's mentally ill. Nothing left in this house is hers. She's got everything she has, everything she owns, everything she needs. There's nothing left here. And I don't know what she did with the papers after being searched. She might have thrown them away. I don't know what she did with them, so they could ask her about that.
Nothing of hers. I'm just putting in what you're telling me.
Yeah. Yeah, she has everything that's hers. I mean, I want her to come back, and I want to have a happy marriage, but she has to take her lithium.
Right.
Because she could kill one of my kids in the middle of the night. Like, she thought she tried to kill the dog one time because she thought it was baby Jesus, she said, and she had to drown it in oil.
That must have been scary.
She just emailed Mark Hammond, the Secretary of State, last week. I have the email where she sent him an email saying to investigate the 2 police officers that came here a few days before and kicked her out of the house. Like, she does these things when she's mentally ill that aren't normal. I have all the paperwork from the police officers that were here last week and the week before. I have all the notes and everything to show them whatever they need to see. I have all her mental medicine notes. I have everything in the notebook that can.
Now, whose car is the CRV? Who does that belong to?
My wife. She just bought that 2 weeks ago, and then she bought another one just yesterday. just keeps buying cars because she's bipolar. She stole money from the church. Right now, she just committed a felony a few weeks ago, and their church they're wanting to press charges on her, and I'm begging them not to because I think that she's going to get back on her medicine and get well.
Right.
The city of Myrtle Beach they called the police. The church had to call the police on her 2 weeks ago. The sheriff picked her up. She ran away from the sheriff for 24 hours on February the 7th, 6/6, something like that. I mean,
Okay.
I have all the paperwork from her doctor right in front of me. I have her diagnosis. I have all the police reports that she's just been doing the past few weeks.
How long was she in the hospital?
She was there for 5 days, but this is the 6th time that she's been there. She's been. She's been in 6 mental institutes over the past several years, and they normally give her lithium, and she gets out, she's fine. Well, this time they didn't give her any lithium. She went to a new mental hospital, and they didn't know her, and she got out, and she just left. She just skipped town and just left, and she drained the bank account and took everything she owns and just left. And so I had to, but then she's been, harassing and tormenting, and the police officer's here. Thank God. Okay,
they're there. All right, I'm going to let you go talk to them. Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay, bye now.
See, I wasn't joking about the weenie part. And what's with all the sniffing? If you aren't actually snorting nose candy, then take some Claritin already. I haven't seen another police report where Michael was trespassed from John Paul's property before. We'll find out in a few minutes that even if Micah had stolen from the church, which she didn't, it wouldn't have been a felony. And how many times does John Paul need to mention that Micah was mentally ill? Remember when John Paul texted Christiana, the mermaid bartender who was too pretty for him? He told her Micah had been hospitalized 7 times, and on this 911 call he said 6 times. And there's absolutely no record of Micah having been hospitalized 6 times. In fact, her medical records from her commitment that John Paul included in his affidavit show that she was hospitalized 2 times prior to that. I know that John Paul learned to do math at Reggie's school, but even Reggie has to know that 2 + 1 = 3, not 6. Then again, it is Reggie. Micah also called the police while she was at John Paul's house, I guess after she was done beating on his doors and windows and yelling, and she told them that he'd called her and told her to come pick up her car. Does that mean this entire scenario was set up by John Paul, just so he could claim that Mica Francis was scary and he and Micah were trying to break in, and also to make sure he could push his Micah has a mental illness and needs lithium narrative and have it on record? Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, Micah had to go to probate court for the determination of the second commitment attempt by John Paul. The judge filed a denial of the commitment request. Why was John Paul so determined to have Micah committed? 2 doctors had to sign off on the commitment, and they opted to choose that she wasn't a danger to herself or others. But John Paul was trying to insist that she was and needed to be committed. But why? Sunday, March 10th, 2024, John Paul preached about finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. Dude, you had that. And to me, that sounds like John Paul thought of himself as single. Monday, March 11th, 2024, sometime around midnight or 1 in the morning, Micah was on the beach kissing that little cutie patootie DJ. At 3 a.m. that same day, John Paul had a phone conversation with DJ and told DJ that he had committed adultery with Micah. So 18 hours prior, he wanted a hot wife, but now that his hot, estranged wife, who loved Jesus, kissed a younger guy, it's a whole different story. At 8:43 that day, John Paul messaged a church member or friend of Micah to ask her to please, please, please pray for him. The last line is cut off, but I did what I do with word puzzles, and I think it's supposed to be, I'm struggling to live. This was at the end of a text string where John Paul had asked the member in February to talk to Micah on his behalf. Later that morning, Micah called police about a razor blade being placed in her tire.
Spring Dispatch, this is Wendy.
Hi, I got a razor blade put in my tire at the Springmaid Pier, and I wanted to make a police report.
Okay, which address you're at?
I'm at the veranda in the back of Market Common.
Okay, what address are you at?
Margarita Drive.
What, ma'am?
Margarita Drive.
Okay. Unit what?
And my car is parked at the front of veranda.
Okay, this is in Myrtle Beach?
It's a black Civic.
Okay, this is in Myrtle Beach?
Mm-hmm.
And your name, ma'am? And your phone number? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
I was parked at the parking garage right there at the Springmaid Pier. Walked on the beach. It was around 1:30-ish, like a.m., that I got back to my car. And when I got back and I pulled away, I heard the pop in my tire, so I immediately got out. And I took a picture. It's a giant razor sticking out the side of my wheel. And this same razor was put in my tire the day that I had to appear at probate court on March 5th in the parking lot of the county clerk. They saw the videos. They said nobody came near my car, but I have pictures of both razors, and they're identical.
So when they watched the
someone's
videos,
obviously following me.
when they watched the videos, they never saw anyone going near your car?
Correct, which means that someone was trying to get me to not be able to go to court, and they wanted me to have a flat tire. It was a psych evaluation from my ex-husband. It was a mandated psych evaluation, which I got dismissed after that day. They cleared me, dismissed, and dropped the case. But there was still a razor in my tire that day at court. And then just now, less than a week later, there's another razor in my tire, and he's accusing me of having an affair and all this crazy stuff.
Box 4603, responsible of all patient, 4151 Liberty Lane, Medicaid Type 3.
Hang on 1 second with me.
And the car is in my, basically godmother's name. So it's not marital property.
All right, and you said this was yesterday this occurred?
Okay, I'll mark it as a missed.
Technically this morning, 1:30 a.m.
1:30 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are you at the location now with Margarita Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
So your tire popped after this happened?
No, my dad's on the way now to crank it up, put the donut, and then hopefully the razor's sticking out the side, so hopefully we'll be able to pull it and plug it, so hopefully, but the other tire did have to be replaced 100%. The one that he put, this person, whoever it is, that put it in at probate court, that had to completely be replaced. This one's on the side, and it's not all the way in. It's sticking out really far, so you can see the whole razor, and hopefully I'll be able to, East Coast Honda will be able to pull the razor out. Is there, a way to check for fingerprints on that thing or something?
I have no idea. That's something that the officers will have to discuss with you, and we'll have an officer dispatch to you as soon as possible and call us back if anything changes, if you have information, engine tail, and hold on 1 second for me. Copy. You said engine and medic too? Hold on one. Okay. All right, and you said this other incident occurred last week?
March 5th.
Okay. March 5th. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this information in, and we'll have officers out to you as soon as possible, okay? And they may want to call you to get some more information. If they do, it'll be from an unknown blocked or private number. Just make sure you answer, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck.
So what would have happened if Micah had got on a highway at high speed with one of those in her tires? If she would have been seriously harmed or killed, would the police have tried to figure out who did it to her? Did the police even go question John Paul about it? I can't understand why tire deflation devices are even allowed to be sold. And I just can't imagine who could have wanted to prevent her from showing up to probate court for the mental health hearing. That is a puzzler right there. Micah filed a second report that day about being harassed by John Paul. I don't have a copy of that report, but WBTW published an article on May 6th that read, "Just before noon on March 11th, an Horry County police officer went to East Coast Honda to investigate a harassment complaint. Miller told him that another officer had helped change her tire and that she then headed to a gas station before going to East Coast Honda. While getting fuel, the suspect in this incident showed up next to her at the pump trying to talk to her. She told him to go away, she does not want to talk to him, and then when she pulled her phone out to record, he sped off. As Miller was talking to the officer at the dealership, the report said she received a call from the suspect using a no ID number. The suspect was advised that the victim does not want any further contact, and if he proceeds, then warrants may possibly be written up. The victim advised me she was afraid for her life," the officer wrote in the report. She also advised she blocks his numbers and still gets calls and texts from him on other numbers. After the officer left, the report stated a mechanic discovered the tracking device on Miller's vehicle. She then headed to court trying to get a restraining order. Miller handed the GPS device over to police outside the courthouse. While Micah was at East Coast Honda, John Paul confronted her and threatened to put a photo of her on Facebook. That same day, John Paul filed to dismiss the separate maintenance filing. So he found out that Micah and DJ were on the beach kissing, and he dropped the separate maintenance filing. Was that so he could refile on grounds of being way jealous? Wednesday, March 13th, 2024, Tricia Ross and John Paul filed an incident report with the Myrtle Beach Police Department stating that Micah stole $1,199 from Solid Rock's Missions Fund. The incident was supposed to have happened on February 14th, but it wasn't called into police until March 13th. So weird that it was only 2 days after Micah and DJ were at the beach. I am sure that's just a wacky coincidence. According to a subsequent police report, the amount that Micah took out of the account was $159.09, not $1,199, and Micah had actually deposited more money from her personal account into the mission fund than she took out of the account. So there was no criminal act, and Judge Clayton ruled to that effect and deemed it a civil matter, not criminal. Nothing more was done about it, and that's probably because there was absolutely nothing to it to begin with. Also, the felony threshold for theft in South Carolina is $2,000. So even if it had been the larger amount, it still wouldn't have been a felony or a federal crime, like John Paul had claimed. On Sunday, March 17th, John Paul preached about a friend of his who was going to get a divorce and then found out that his wife had cheated on him. Let's watch.
A friend of mine that's a pastor called me last week, and one day on a Monday, his wife told him that he was the greatest husband in the world, that she loved her life and she was so appreciative. The very next day something happened and she left. And he didn't know where she went. She just left all of her things, left everything she had, everything she worked for, everything. He didn't know what to think. He had no idea what was going on. So he hired a third-party service to find her and see where she was living and that kind of stuff. And they did, and last week they turned in all of their evidence to his lawyer, and he discovered that she had left him for one of his staff members, a young man that he had trained to learn how to preach, that he had shared his pulpit with him, a young man who the pastor had paid to go to Bible college, gave him a job. He worked hand in hand with the pastor. And in one fleeting moment, the pastor lost his wife and his good friend all at the same time. When he saw the information over at the lawyers, he started to throw up, one trash can, second trash can, a third trash can, and he just started to dry heave. He couldn't believe what he saw was the most horrible image and worst thing you could ever imagine. The lawyer drew up the divorce papers. The lawyer told him and said, you have everything you need now. You can be divorced in 3 months. and you'll never have to see her again. You won't have to give her a dime. There's far more than enough information to take care of everything. The pastor said, give me the papers, draw them up. They got all the paperwork ready. They put the pen in his hand, and he just couldn't sign the paper. They said, but don't you see everything, and don't you understand? And he called a lot of the elders, and they supported. If he wanted to leave her, just leave her. This is it. And for some reason, he just couldn't do it. And so he went home, and he wrote her a letter. And all he said was, I forgive you for what you've done. And I already forgive you for whatever you're going to do. Whenever you want to be restored, just call. And if you want a divorce, you'll have to leave me, because the Bible says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. He left. And the hardest thing he's ever had to go through, he can't hear from God very clearly. He doesn't know what God wants him to do. He knows that she's not herself and doesn't know how to handle it or how to respond. The rage, the rejection, the relationship, it's all there. And so if you get a chance, pray that his heart does not remain angry or upset, because it's destroying him.
Okay, first off, why does his attorney have 3 trash cans in one office? And what the heckity heck did you eat that filled 3 trash cans? Were they trash cans made for ants? Come on, we know that we know you were talking about yourself. It was really obvious and made everyone really uncomfortable. Also, according to Section 161570 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, adultery is defined as, quote, the living together in carnal intercourse with each other, or habitual carnal intercourse with each other without living together, of a man and a woman when either is lawfully married to some other person. So I don't think kissing on the beach qualifies as adultery. I think John Paul has tried to present himself as not being angry about the situation. During his phone call with DJ, he told DJ he forgave him and, quote, I appreciate you, man. I'm sorry. I love you. I'll see you around, end quote. To which DJ replied, not if I see you first. Not really. So John Paul was all forgiving on the phone call, but in this sermon, he talked about rage and how angry his friend was. Tuesday, April 15th, 2024, Micah filed for separate maintenance and support. On Thursday, April 25th, 2024, John Paul was served separate maintenance and support papers. Saturday, April 27th, 2024, Micah was found dead at Lumber River State Park from a gunshot to the head. Robeson County detectives investigated her death in the same manner you'd expect from the Three Stooges, only with less intelligence. Monday, April 29th, 2024, an obituary for Micah that was written by John Paul was published. It was the most bizarre obituary I've ever read, and in it, John Paul just had to mention the material items that Micah had, and I think maybe he wanted people to know he'd bought them for her. Quote, Micah loved her ice bath, nice car, sauna, house, etc., end quote. Buying someone nice things doesn't make one a nice husband. He also made her obituary about him much more than I think was necessary. Wednesday, May 1st, 2024, John Paul's neighbor called 911.
Where can I dispatch? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
This is Horry County Dispatch. Can I help you?
Sure, I was talking to a lady. She sent me you.
Okay.
What I'm calling for, we're in the neighborhood of Cascades. This is where that preacher guy, which everybody knows he's crazy out here, and his wife apparently, which we know she didn't shoot herself. But what's happening, and he's had a bunch of Filipino girls or something, I don't know if what's going on in there, but the neighbor also saw him beating one of those girls up not too long ago. He can be, tell the police about it. The mail lady just went down there and she said there's always different young Oriental girls in that house, and then they're now. I guess I don't know what he's going. I know they're doing an investigation into her death, because she had just filed for divorce and all, and, we all know her from running and everything, and she ended up dead. But I think somebody might want to go by that house and see what's going on, because it don't look good for this neighborhood. And her mom's out here, there's older people out here in this neighborhood. Something's going on. Yes, ma'am, that's the address. And the mail lady said she went by there, and there's young Filipino girls, all that sex trafficking and all going on. Mm-hmm. I heard he was involved in that, but I'm not saying it because there's a lot he was into.
Okay.
And with little girls and all, and that's why it's going to all come out in the long run. But they're over there now. The girls are. There's nobody else. That's not their house. It belongs to her. And she had filed for divorce. So y'all might want to check it because there's something going on. They got, sheets all over the windows and don't look right in this neighborhood.
They have what all over the windows?
And like I said,
sheets.
It looks like they got sheets put over it now since all this. And we did see him fly in there and fly out of there because he almost hit us in his blue truck and he took off. That was on Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. And apparently he sneaked in there and leave. But those Orientals in there, and like I said, I think that was her house. But you heard about it. There's everything going on with the, what was the name? Rock Church, Solid Rock Church.
Okay.
And it's the Miller, J.P. Miller. And like you say, she filed for divorce. 2 days later, she's dead. So there's something going on in there. It's been going on a while. Like I said, the neighbor saw one of them, the boy, because he's real crazy, beating the girl on the back. But I don't know why he didn't call the police, but he didn't know either. A lot of people don't like getting involved. I don't think he's involved in sex trafficking, which I think he is. But y'all can find out, because they got no business in their house.
Okay. And what is your name?
Live down the road, believe me. Yeah, the neighbor knows. Everybody's scared of this guy now because what's going on. They should be.
Right. And what's your... Do you know about how many Oriental girls are there?
No, I have no idea, but the post ladies did it always, and she saw them in a while ago. So they came to the door and got some packages she delivered. She knows there's always something, and the other man that used to be there said there's always something shady going in there with that boy and everything, which it is. They're young. She thinks they're Filipino. Yeah, JP, man, he was the one. His wife was just found dead. It was just said that she committed suicide, but all the people got Facebook. They know he killed. You know how that goes.
Right.
He did it all the time. He really did. He's a crazy guy. And he's been involved in young kids and young girls. And, of course, the church now is just saying that. Somebody should come up and say that a lot longer and she'd be alive today. Mm-hmm. I'm sure y'all all read about it. It just happened, I think, Saturday. There's always been something weird, and everybody had to tell you something weird going on in that house. Mm-hmm. But it's a nice neighborhood. Yeah, I don't really want to get involved, but I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Right. Do you know if there's any weapons?
To be done. I don't know if there's any weapons in there. I know they said the girl shot herself. I don't know if that happened there. Somebody told me that the mail, they thought she did in Charleston, which don't make sense, but nobody knows.
Okay.
I don't know what's in that house.
And is there anyone in danger right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on inside that house or not.
Right.
There's a black car out there, and I know they got the windows and all. They'll see when they see the house.
Okay.
Yeah, he slipped in and he ran out of there, so I don't know if he was... I know he had a restraining order on him, and I don't even think he was supposed to be around that house, but I don't... Like I said, she ended up dead. You know how that goes.
Right.
It's weird. It's very... And everybody knows. Everybody in that church knows. Everybody knows it. And it's under investigation, so...
Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go. An officer's going to be dispatched as soon as possible. Just call us back if you get new information or need further assistance.
All right, we appreciate it. We didn't want to get involved, but there's something that needs to be done because there's something going on, and you know it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Does anyone else want to go hang out with John Paul's neighbors and just listen to all the gossip? As far as I know, there was nothing mentioned in this call that was followed up by police. Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, WPDE published a video of an interview they held with Trisha Ross, which showed Trisha laughing while talking about Micah's death.
Heart for missions. When she went to Africa this time, I'm sorry. She just fell in love. That was her heart. She'd do anything for anybody.
She also made horrible mouth sounds in that interview. Ugh. John Paul was interviewed and sat with a ridiculously placed photo of Micah and Charles Randall on the table beside him. He was also allegedly wearing the necklace that Micah had on the day she died. Ken and Alicia Young were also interviewed and stated that there needed to be some accountability for Micah's death. On Friday, May 3rd, 2024, the video of John Paul announcing Micah's death to the congregation at Solid Rock hits the internet. As a refresher, during the announcement, he doesn't call Micah by name. He makes sure he mentions that the congregation knew she had mental problems, said it was self-induced, and then told everyone not to talk about it and just make like a banana and split. That last bit is a paraphrase. I think watching this video was what got a lot of people interested in Micah's case. For me, when I watched his announcement, I immediately felt like something was very wrong, and that's when I began digging into the case. On Sunday, May 5th, 2024, a beachside memorial service for Micah was held by her family and friends, and it was beautiful and lovely and everything a memorial service should be. John Paul also had a memorial service for her at Solid Rock at Market Common. It was the worst memorial service I've ever seen. I'm not going to play the video of that horrible service, but I am going to play this small clip from an interview that Ashley Banfield from News Nation held with Scott Rouse, who is a body language expert and member of the Behavior channel on YouTube. In the interview, Scott talks about how John Paul is presenting all the classic signs of someone faking an emotion. I'll post a link to the full video in the description.
We're not seeing any grief here. We're not seeing what are called adapters, the things that we use to comfort ourselves, to self-soothe ourselves, like wringing of the hands, those kind of things. He's got what's supposed to be tears happening. That's not happening. He has no tissues there with him. His nose isn't running. He's trying to pretend it is, but it isn't. These are all the classic cues of someone who is faking an emotion. And if you'll notice, if someone's really feeling an emotion, that's what the emotions fire those expressions onto your face, in other words, from your brain, from your limbic system. And those don't last on him. We don't see grief. And the little bit of grief that there's a semi-sadness that we see in there is taken away by a smile. And the smile is more prevalent than his grief is, or than his sadness is. This is one of those things that shows so many things that are wrong with it. I'm actually going to use this in training.
May 6, 2024, WBTW published an article about Micah's sister Sierra filing to be named the special administrator of Micah's estate. In that affidavit, Sierra stated that, quote, Micah stated to me on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was JP. Tuesday, May 7, 2024, Robeson County Sheriff Bernice Wilkins released a statement that reported Micah ended her own life. I think Bernice Wilkins is a twit-faced buffoon. Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, John Paul is chased by a woman or a man with long hair and they have a gun or a camera or a water pistol. And here's that 911 call.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
The address is going to be 6 Coldwater Circle. This is the one that's all over the news. And there's a car that's following me around in my neighborhood, and I think she has a gun. And she's been following me everywhere, and I've tried to get away, and she keeps following me. I think it's a girl, either that or a guy with long hair, but I'm in my neighborhood driving, and she stays behind me. I tried to drive to Target. She stayed behind me. She was in front of my house with either a gun or a camera or something, and she's still following me in my neighborhood now. And I've received death threats over the past few days, so I'm kind of worried about this.
Okay, and what's the numeric address that you're at?
I'm driving in my neighborhood, but my address is Coldwater Circle, 29588.
What street are you on now? Do you know?
No, I'll be on Coldwater in about 30 seconds. I saw a police officer at the front of my neighborhood a little while ago. I don't know where he went. I went back to try to find him, but he's gone. But she's still following me.
Okay, do not go to your house.
Okay. Okay, so tell me what to do. I'm near my pool, the neighborhood pool.
Oh, you're fine. Do you see it?
Yeah, I'm in front of the neighborhood pool. I'm on Banks Drive, and I'm on Santo Drive, and
Okay.
It might be a guy. I can't tell if it's a guy or a girl. There's tinted windows, but
Can you see what race they are?
I was at my house, and they're in a white Volvo. I think it's a Volvo, but it's a white SUV, small SUV.
And they're following you?
Yeah, they're following me every turn I make. They're following me everywhere I go. They're following me. They follow me all around town. I try to get away, or all around town. I went from 540. Went to 544 the whole time. They won't stop following me. Man, my heart's racing. I don't know what to do.
Stay on the line, okay? Do you know what type of gun it was?
Okay. What type of gun? No, I know. They were holding something up through the window. It could have been a camera, could have been a gun, could have been a water pistol. I don't know what it was, but they're holding something up and they won't stop following me. They just now, for the first time in the past 10 minutes, they just now stopped.
Okay, where'd they stop at?
On a street called, I don't know, Banks Drive, maybe, I think. Should I try to get the license number, like go behind them or something?
No, do not go near them.
Okay, I'm not doing nothing.
Are you, and is anyone else in danger right now besides you?
No, I'm the only one in my car. Oh, they're back to following me again.
Is there any way you can get to... I'm trying to get you to a safe location. Do you know where the grab-and-go gas station is?
Yes.
Can you try to get to there?
Yes. Yeah, but I'm just scared. I want to find out who this person is. I'm scared they'll stop following me or something. I don't know what to do.
Okay. That's why we're going to get officers in the area, okay, sir?
Okay, I'm going to the gas station. And they're still following me. How soon will the police officer be at the gas station? I'll be there in about 30 seconds, probably. Oh, they just turned. They turned into the pool in my neighborhood.
All right, just go to the gas station.
Okay. Man, I wish the police officer would go to the pool. They're on, what's the name of the street? They're on Azalea Lakes Boulevard. It's where they're at. Azalea Lakes Boulevard, the pool at Azalea Lakes Boulevard. Oh, here they come again.
Okay. Just go to the grab and go.
Yep, they're coming to me. If I get to the grab and go, what if they do something to me there?
Okay. Well, that's why I want to see if they're going to continue to follow you since you're in a safe location where other people are at. And if they do, then go past it, and I'm going to have you go somewhere else, okay?
Okay, they followed me to Target. I was pulling into Target, and they...
Are they still behind you?
Can't see. I don't see them.
Okay. We're still just going to go to the grab and go, just in case.
Oh, there they are. Crap! They're right behind me. They pulled into another street. They're right behind me. I'm at the grab and go. I'm at the grab and go, and they're following me to the grab and go.
Okay, just keep on driving down Palmetto Point.
Oh, crap. I turned into the grab and go. I didn't know what to do. I turned into the grab and go.
Okay, can you go out the other exit?
Crap, they're following me into the grab and go. These people are crazy.
Can you, listen.
Yes, I'm going
I need you to go out towards Palmetto Point, okay? We're going to go towards 17. They're still following him. He just put in the... He's still in the grab and go. He's trying to get out of there.
They parked into the grab and go. They parked in the grab and go.
Suspects parked in the grab and go. What vehicle are you in,
hon? The grab and go. I'm in a blue pickup truck, and they're in a white SUV, and they parked in the grab and go. So they made a parking space. They're no longer behind me.
Okay, they're still parked.
I see the police officer.
All right, wave them down. Wave them down.
Okay. Thank you so much. You did such a good job. Oh, now that person got out of the car. They've gotten out of the car.
All right, just wave that officer down, okay?
Okay, I waved him down, and he's turning in, and he's going after the person. I think he sees the person just got in their car.
Okay, just stay on the line with me.
Okay, I am. It's a boy with long hair. It wasn't a girl. Thank you so much for taking care of me. Thank you so much. You did such a good job. I really appreciate it. God, if I told you how scared I was, you wouldn't even. I'm still on the phone with him.
It's the Volvo. You said it's the Volvo, correct?
Yes, he got him. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Do I hang up with you now? Is that what I do?
If you feel safe enough to hang up, unless you want another officer with you.
No, I'm okay. Do I go to my house or do I park somewhere? What do I do?
Just where are you at right now? Are you still at the grab and go?
I'm at the grab and go. Yeah, I can get gas. I need gas. Should I get gas?
Okay, just stay in your vehicle, okay?
Okay,
and
I'll stay in my vehicle.
And just stay right where you're at, and my officer will come to you. You don't get out.
I'm going to park next to the air and the vacuum thing over there, away from everybody. I don't want to get in the way of people, so I'm going to park over here on the side, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm here and I'm okay. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Again, either John Paul is presenting his finest act of being the world's biggest weenie, or he actually is the world's biggest weenie. Either way, I'm embarrassed for him. When he says, it's a boy, not a girl, what kind of doofus refers to a 60-year-old man as a boy? And the suspect ended up being Jay Bingham, who I refer to as fake Jesus or faux Jesus. So on the phone call, John Paul never said that he knew fake Jesus. But he went to his church. He knew him. He would have recognized him long before he got out of his vehicle at the grab and go. So here's my opinion, and keep in mind that this is purely my opinion and it's all alleged. But I've often wondered if fake Jesus being at the protest was a setup. The first time I saw him on a video, he was walking from behind the church dressed like Jesus, or at least what he thinks Jesus dressed like. Personally, I think Jesus was much more fashion forward. Some people said he came from that direction because he lives there. But according to the Horry County land records, he lives 8 miles from the church. Maybe he rode a donkey there. I always had the impression that he came from out of the church that day. I mean, what better place is there to get a Jesus costume than a church? When he first arrived at the protest, he didn't act like he was sure what to do. And protesters made statements that John Paul paid him to be there, and they thought it was funny that he was turning to the Justice for Micah side. Then there were reports by the protesters that fake Jesus was taking photos of the list of their names and addresses. I know there are many who might disagree with me, and that's okay. In any case, this entire phone call to police and the chase just seems like a badly acted skit to me. According to the police report, John Paul first saw fake Jesus driving by his house making gestures. What kind of gestures were they? Were they a wave? Did he flip him the bird? Was he flashing the sign for I love you, hang 10, thumbs up, rock on, baseball signals? Then, instead of going back into his house, John Paul decides to drive around. You know, I can't tell you how many times that someone has driven by my house and made random gestures, which led me to jump into my car and skedaddle all the way out of there. And if Jay had driven by his house and John Paul left, how did Jay end up following him? None of this makes sense, and John Paul's overblown panic at being chased by someone who might have had a camera pointed at him is just over-the-top ridiculous. And if there was a video of that car chase, it would be like this. Faux Jesus was trespassed from John Paul's property, and the case was closed due to there not being any evidence of John Paul's claims that there was a firearm involved, whether the bangy kind or the water variety. Saturday, May 11th, 2024, Ashley Banfield and Rich McHugh from News Nations reported about an apology email that John Paul sent to Micah on April 15th that stated, quote, "I'm sorry for damaging your tires, etc. If you ever come back, I will turn in both cars and get you a nice SUV or whatever car you want. Again, my horrible flesh pattern of hurting someone when they hurt me." The report was also about John Paul posting a topless photo of Micah online, and Rich McHugh made it sound like they had a copy of that photo when he said, "We're obviously not going to show that here." Rich then shared more of the apology email, which read, "I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. It was for less than 1 hour and immediately taken down. I was hurt that you were telling everyone horrible intimate details of my past sin, and I just wanted to try and hurt you. Please forgive me. It was evil of me to do that." So I guess the fact that it was only up for an hour is just supposed to make everything magically better. And let's keep in mind that April 15th was the same day that Micah had filed for separate maintenance. I'll post a link to the full News Nation report in the description. Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, there was a police report of John Paul assaulting a male at Little Tokyo restaurant. According to the report, he slapped the male in the face and then pushed them. He left and the victim didn't want to file charges. I made a video about this and at the time stated I thought it was DJ, but after the video was posted, DJ's grandma said it wasn't him according to a message I received. Please don't send me to my room, but I'm not convinced, Grandma. Whoever the victim was with a 20-year-old female. I think DJ is the exact kind of person who would decide to not file charges against John Paul, even though John Paul deserved it. Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, John Paul's ex-wife, Allison Williams, filed for an emergency hearing to prevent John Paul from having visitation with his children. In her affidavit, she alleged that, quote, "Plaintiff alleges that since the entry of the party's prior final order, defendant has exhibited increasingly unstable behaviors, failed to provide a safe and stable environment for the minor children during his periods of visitation, and has both exposed and involved the minor children in incidents of domestic dispute and discord, which have been traumatic to the minor children and not in their best interest." Plaintiff further alleges that since the entry of the party's prior final order, it appears as though defendant's mental health has increasingly deteriorated, and he has exhibited behavioral patterns that are erratic and irrational. At times, he has foregone his designated periods of visitation based upon his own assertions of not being mentally well enough for the children to be in his care. Allison further alleged that John Paul had failed to seek treatment for his deviant sexual addictions and behaviors, which he admitted to her and former elders of the church. Allison requested that she would be granted sole custody and that John Paul would not have any contact or visitation with the children until he underwent a complete psychological and parental fitness evaluation. On Wednesday, May 29th, 2024, former Solid Rock Associate Pastor Bernard Ginnerson gives an interview on News 13 WBTW.
I mean, we were led to believe that all of this was coming from Micah and her mental illness, and not being on her meds, that she'd been on this long psychotic, episode. And it was just a big eye-opener to me that he wasn't the man that I thought he was.
So Bernard Ginnerson had been arrested in 1992 for essaying his 6-year-old daughter. And that makes him a pedophile, but not necessarily a liar. And I'll post a link to the full interview in the description. I wonder how many other former Solid Rock members are now thinking that John Paul was not the man they thought he was. There is a strong possibility that I have omitted something from this timeline. If so, let me know and I'll see if I can edit the video or at least leave a note about it in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment as this helps my channel grow. If you'd like to become a member to support my channel, you can find a link to my Patreon account in the description. I'll have part 2 of the timeline posted soon. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.